Wicked Woods there.
And again, I guess a little bit of the thought with that is from a restoration standpoint, you know, if we do some reforestation out here, you know, the property kind of lend itself to more wooded area. I don't know if Paul wants to speak a little bit to kind of the natural features of the site, you know, probably before development.
Sure. I mean, the state of Ohio was 90-some% forested pre-settlement, and yeah, anytime you start talking about restoration of a natural area in Ohio, especially northeast Ohio, you're primarily talking about reforestation. So it would fit to me anyway.
I think the team get it down to 3 of them, put it in the paper, direct people to our website, have a vote.
Do that. Sounds like a plan. Very good. Okay, let's move to presentation by Sugar River Watershed Partners. We get you ladies out of here. Thanks for your patience. Sure, yeah, and wherever you're comfortable. Thanks, Alicia. Alicia Beatty is with Sugar River Watershed Partners. They are a formative partner in assisting us with grants, grant applications, particularly Sugar River Watershed Partners, Sugar River Watershed rather. So she'll explain some of what they have done and some of what they're planning. Welcome.
Well, hello everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here this morning. I'm Alicia Beatty, and I'm the Associate Director of Sugar River Watershed Partners. If you're not familiar with our organization, we were founded back in 1996 by the cities, villages, townships, and park districts, including Geauga Park District as a founding member, looking to have a common approach to address flooding, erosion, water quality issues, and with the idea that what happens upstream impacts what happens downstream. And so over the past couple of years, we've done a lot of work together. It's been pretty exciting working to obtain grant funding and begin implementing several restoration projects. One of them is the Beaver Creek Wetland Restoration Project, and that's near Bass Lake in the Chardon area, Munson Township area, funded by Ohio EPA's Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program. We've also been working on a stream restoration project at the Bessie Benner Metzenbaum Park that has Griswold Creek running through it. And also a large-scale tree planting is being planned for Orchard Hills Park. So that was formerly a golf course in need of some additional reforestation work. And those latter 2 projects were funded through the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. And all those 3 projects together total over $1.1 million in funding for restoration work. And most recently, very exciting, been working closely with Paul Pura over here to develop a pre-proposal, which is actually due today, to the Sustain Our Great Lakes program for a brook trout habitat improvement that would be at the Westwoods. We are also currently working with the Park District to develop an Ohio EPA Section 319 grant program application for a stream and wetland restoration project at the Sunnybrook Preserve. And we've also been working with the Park District and Chardon business owners with exploring options to address deficiencies with the Losi Dam. So that included working to write an RFP and select a consultant to design the dewatering of the Losi Dam. And we are available for continued coordination and then pursuing funding sources eventually for restoration work. And also for a little bit of background on Sugar River Watershed Partners, we do a lot of work in watershed planning, including writing non-point source implementation strategy plans. And it's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's basically a new type of watershed plan that's written at a sub-watershed level. So just as an example, for the Chagrin River watershed drains 267 square miles. Before we had 1 Chagrin River Watershed Action Plan. Now there are actually 7 sub-watershed plans. And really focusing on non-point source pollution issues like sediment, nitrogen, phosphorus, water quality issues. And so these plans summarize what the causes and sources of impairment might be in the watershed, and then detail projects to help address the issues in the watershed, address those impairments. And so we work to update those non-point source plans, and every time we have a new project in mind, we work closely with our members to make sure it gets included. In order to be eligible for several sources of state and federal funding, that project must be included in the plan. So these are funding sources like the Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program through Ohio EPA, the Ohio EPA Section 319 Grant Program, the U.S. Forest Service Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, other protection restoration projects. It's really advantageous to get those projects in early. And so this was necessary for past projects such as at the Bessie Benner Metzenbaum Park, and then we're available to make updates in the futures as well. And so, it's very variable when the RFP might come out for these types of funding sources, and so it's been really great to be able to work with Paul and others at the Park District to get these projects conceptualized so that we can leverage some grant funding. And also just wanted to put out on your radar that stormwater management projects are eligible in this year's RFP after several years of being excluded. So potentially in the future that could mean projects like bioretention, permeable pavement, even constructed stormwater wetlands to help improve water quality before that water enters our streams. And then currently, we have funding through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Office of Coastal Management to write these non-point source plans for several sub-watersheds that are outside of the Chagrin River watershed. So we do work outside of the Chagrin River as well. And that includes writing a plan for the West Branch Cuyahoga River sub-watershed. And Kristen Heberbrand, my colleague over here, will be leading development of that plans. And both Wicked Woods and part of Burton Wetlands is in this sub-watershed. And so we're happy to work with you to incorporate and develop restoration projects that could go into that plan. And we do have past experience working on former golf courses, such as working with the city of Aurora to secure a water resource restoration sponsorship program funding for a golf course acquisition and restoration project that converted that golf course to a public park. And so we would be glad to assist Geauga Park District with securing funding and restoring areas of this new park. Very, very beautiful place that you have here. So with that, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. And does anyone here have any questions? Great.
Oh, you want to comment on some of the newer initiatives? Potential for brook trout restoration?
If you twist my arm, you really gonna make me talk about fish? If I may, can I give you? I'd love to give you this article on brook trout. Do you know the story of Ohio brook trout? Anybody? Every Geauga County resident should know this story.
Can I have one?
Do you want one?
Yeah.
I'm partial to the authors here. I'll have these over here. But brook trout are one of those species that get people very excited. I'm talking about native Ohio brook trout. Brook trout, there was one stream left in the entire state of Ohio 20 years ago, that had these native brook trout left in it. And it was in Geauga County, Bass Lake area. Now that started a whole reintroduction program with the Ohio Division of Wildlife. And that was about a 10-year program. Fascinating story. Read up on it a little bit. Every Geauga County person should be extremely proud. It's like one of our crown jewels, really. And there's only 4 streams left right now. Currently, they reintroduced them into about 16 streams. We had 16 streams. Now we're down to about 4 streams right now that have sustainable brook trout in them. And so part of the project, what I'm thinking is we need to do a few things. The Westwoods is one of our parks where we have these brook trout. And there's 2 streams there that could really benefit from some restoration work. And so we're going to try to go for a grant here, if with your blessing and approval today, that we're going to put in for this grant. It's a competitive grant, but we have a lot of support. I've got, within a week, I'll tell you, people love this fish. It's what we have a committee that has helped with this program over the 20 years called the Ohio Brook Trout Advisory Committee, made up of all these aquatic biologists, but we call it the aquatic bald eagle. So it's our kind of poster child for healthy water and pristine times when, you know, Ohio was not developed and, you know, when settlers came. It's a whole hour-long talk. Love to give it to you sometime. But within a couple of days, we had at least 9 support letters. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife, the Conservation, the head in Columbus gave us a support letter. Ohio EPA gave us a support letter. Scenic Rivers Program Manager in Columbus gave us a support letter. Sugar River Watershed Partners gave us a lot of trout clubs. There's some really fast, some great trout